So I promised I'd make a video about the potential theory of insurance agents being obsolete. And let's talk about it. I'm an insurance agent, been doing it 12 years. We're trying to bypass a 5 million book built by us in 5 years from scratch. We literally took and started our company with 0 clients, 0 anything. We didn't take any of our old clients. We followed kind of the rules of a non-solicit, even though I don't think we technically even had one, but we wanted to just make sure it's clean, right? Everything's brand new. So the thing is we are looking in the future, like 5 years from now, what are we looking at? 10 years from now, where are we going to be? Is this the position or is this the industry that we can be long term? And I have a few fears, and I have done this on my Think Brand channel where I've actually explained this to customers to where we could become obsolete. There's a few pieces with all these tech and AIs coming out, the Chat GPT, all of those things that are happening. So if you're new and thinking of joining the insurance industry, is it a possible place for you to work? Let's just smash that bug right now. In the next probably 2 decades, I would assume, you're not going to see a big shift. You're not going to see a massive shift. Now, there are states like Florida that have stated that by the year 2035 that they're going to be an all EV state where you're almost outlawed not to have that. And the EVs technically don't mean autonomous. The fear that a lot of people have is they see Tesla and it kind of drives itself, it parks itself. Actually, I just watched a video where a Tesla was going to get a ticket and he got out of it. So it's like, who gets the ticket, right? Tesla or the guy? And the car was coming to him. It's like a call pattern. So yes, can our technology start to drive for us? Yes, I believe that's true. And will that create kind of a little bit of a loss on our industry for those that don't drive? Probably, because there are taxi cabs that you can hop into and it's driverless. That being said, there is too much need right now and in the next few decades for agents like us. And when I say like us, not the cheap price wins mentality. It's the agents that actually care about what customers have, what their needs are, and what their protection should be. Focusing on what the right policy is, not what the cheapest price is. Now let's play the devil's advocate and explain what I mean by where I think that we could be obsolete. And here's the piece that we have to keep an eye for. If this happens quickly, it could happen, but you have other companies like Google. There's also a Google insurance that has tried to come out several years ago. It failed. And part of it was because they weren't ready, and part of it was because they didn't have the right people in place. Same thing with Root Insurance, and the same thing with Lemonade Insurance. These tech companies that are coming out and putting tons of money into the market to build their brand. And some of them have. Root actually has kind of gone downhill lately, but Lemonade Insurance has grown, but their debt has grown too. So they're almost proving the models that they're successful, but they're losing more money than they're gaining in most cases. Yes, if I come in with $75 million and get seed money, and there you go, right? I could build a tech, you could build a tech, and that could be the thing. But we're finding that that isn't what a lot of people are looking for. They want the advice, they want the interaction, they want somebody that they can trust, not just some algorithm that was put together. So why are you talking so great about this? Where's the doomsday scenario? And here it is. What I think will happen to our industry is eventually 2 things will happen. There's going to be several different ways, but there's going to be 2 primary ways to buy insurance. There are a few apps that are creating the pay-as-you-need policy. And if technology gets to the point where you rent your car for life, kind of like we do with our cell phones, and you have like a lease forever, and you know it's $300 for this style of car. And just like you get an Uber, you can pick the luxury, the Suburbans, you can pick the minivans and things like that. And so when you're done with your car, whether it's 3 months later, 8 months later, whatever the case is, you just turn it in. You're like, I don't want this car anymore. I want to get this one. And part of that will tie in the insurance with it. So they're going to say, well, no, you got to have our insurance if you're going to do it because we have to protect ourselves. And they're going to have a little bit heavier cost because we're just purchasing the vehicle at any whim that we want. And there'll probably be the 2-year contracts and all that junk that we do now. That's one piece. So that's going to be an option that they have already started to build. Toyota has an insurance program. GM has an insurance program. They're not very good, and they're filtered through other companies. So I think GM is through American Family, if I'm not mistaken. And the Toyota one, I don't know who they're through. There are signs of that becoming an insurance option. So that one could lower the customer base for us. keep in mind, that's not necessarily the trust thing. Do you trust your insurance with the car salesman? Kind of puts a little bit of a negative because the insurance guy isn't always trustworthy. And are they going to give you the right coverage? If you had a counselor that could create this, and this kind of leads into the second piece. So if you had a counselor that could be your agent, and there's a counsel fee, or we get a percentage of the sale, to where we adjust and look at your policy and what are your needs. So if you had somebody that could be that advice go-to and say, you need this, 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 and this, and we create a profile, and that profile sits digitally everywhere you go. I've got a digital card on my wallet, and there's digital things everywhere. Pretty soon we're going to have the chips where the chip is tied to us specifically. What's my blood type? What happens if I have an allergy? If I scan the food I eat, is it going to tell them that I can't eat these types of foods? If I want my insurance to be inputted into anyone's car, it will just boot, there you go. There is your insurance. You're safe to drive. So the daily driving piece is what we're seeing today. There are some apps out there that allow you to pay a per day fee. And it's expensive, so it's not worth it if you're going to drive long term. But that's neat that you can do that. The other part is look at the little mini scooters all over the place. If you're in any type of city, you hop on a little scooter and you pay whatever hour fee, and then when it's done, it just stops. If the battery dies, when you run out of time, you park it, and then it's done. It shuts off and you're locked out. Can you imagine how many people are going to leave like their purse or their wallet or something, their laptop in the back seat, and realize they got locked out? That'll be interesting to see how that actually unfolds. But I think that could happen to where we no longer own the cars, we just use them. And there's a fee and charge or service, and it's not even an Uber. It's just people-less, or we're going to drive them, or they're going to drive and pick us up. That's one option. That's one way that we could become obsolete. Very unlikely, and that's why I say for the next few decades, it's probably not going to be something that will show up. The other way is Google will do one of two things. So there's almost like a third piece. The first way is the easy way that we know of. If they're building a Google Insure or insurance or whatever you want to call it, and they make it onto their website, look what they did to flights. They made the flights easy to buy through their services. So they're almost taking an affiliate commission. And if that happens and you're not the person in the seat to take the business, then you're going to lose. If you're not positioning yourself to be ready for that, then when that hits, a third to a quarter of all of our business will go straight to Google, bought through agencies that we don't know of, or contracts that they have, or referred to at a fee, so you're going to get paid less. But it'll be done there because it's simple and it checks the prices for you. Same scenario, they still need an agent for advice. So having that referral fee or having that advice fee or whatever it is could shift to pay you some of that money back. The unfortunate part is now your insurance is a commodity where the agent is only useful for the one time. That's like selling a chair to somebody. You've outsold yourself for the business for them for the next 2 decades. They might not want or need another chair unless something major changes. The second piece that Google could or probably will do is the digital version. We talked about picking up your car wherever you want, whichever car you want at the time. We talked about leasing cars however you want. We talked about driverless cars coming and picking you up, but we didn't talk about you owning the car. What happens if you own the car and on all of the technology on the dashboard that everybody has right now, you just logged into your car? What happens when it knows you, or you just sit in the seat and it biometric scans your face that you've allowed it to do, and it says, great, there's Mark. Here's the playlist that he likes to hear. Here's the things that he likes to do. Here's the speed that he likes to go. And here's the cost of his insurance for the time that he uses it. You'll have 2 choices, similar to what Nationwide does today. They allow you to choose Smart Miles or Smart Ride, or none. The Smart Ride is kind of just a telematics, but the Smart Miles makes you pay a lower base fee, and you pay for the miles that you use over that. By the way, we just got appointed with Nationwide directly, so plus up for that. I do love their system, so it's kind of cool. I'm a little excitement out of that. Anyways, going back to the train, the base fee is a lot less expensive, and then you just pick the miles you think you do. If you drive over it, it's like leasing a car. You pay the additional mileage, just not as expensive. The other way is you have a monthly plan based on your driving habits. And that car can choose, if you let it, or deny the ability to track what you're doing. But keep in mind, most of it's autonomous. It's going to be able to tell you if you're going to get a discount before you do the discount system, because it already knows your habits and knows your driving. It'll be pretty accurate. So as we get into the technology, I don't think ChatGPT is going to play any factor. Honestly, I don't think it even wants to touch the legal / insurance / the liability type of places, because I think they want to be just a go-to for websites and the go-to for the advice and all of that stuff. But as this starts to plan out and roll out more and more, we're starting to see signs of the technology outsourcing what agents are known for. Sounds crazy. I don't think it's that far-fetched from what we've created technology-wise, vehicle-wise, autonomous-wise, and the different biometrics that we use today to where we can scan or fingerprint or face scan or whatever the case is. I don't know. If we do a really good job and they still allow us to be the agents in those scenarios, maybe you log into your car and it says Mark's your agent or so-and-so's your agent. So you have that ability and we can transfer between agents whether we want the advice or not. I think the advice piece is going to keep us strong in the industry, but a few decades from now, if we keep an eye on the technology of the way it's shifting, if it's even worth the shift, will we become obsolete? That's for you to choose. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'm curious to know if you think that that is so far-fetched or if you see some of the signs of it happening in our industry. Now, this was a lot different than my normal video. I normally just do kind of like the vlog style of us building our agency and just kind of my journey through this insurance industry. And I'm doing it. I believe that this is not something that's going to happen, at least in my lifetime. I will probably see it near the end of it. So if you're just joining the insurance industry, I think you're probably okay. Just keep an eye on the signs. Have your resume ready when it does happen. No, I think you'll be fine. And I think as long as you're that advisor where you go down the right path, you're going to build a really strong income for yourself. And until it gets to be a few decades later, it may never become a thing. We just have to keep our eyes open and look for what the next steps are. I'm Mark W. Flockhart. I'll see you soon.